Hi everyone, this is Rach from Les Rêveur. I'm calling with the most loveliest Kris Bryant. She's our first guest on the Between the Covers. This is really exciting, Kris. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. Thanks for letting me be your first.
I know. Hey, who knew? Woohoo! What are you drinking over there?
I have a lovely Moscato that I found in the wine cabinet.
Lovely.
And I can't pronounce it. It's Italian. It's Italian Moscato. So
very nice.
And I'm doing well on my glasses, so I'm ready for this.
Okay, awesome. I'm having since it's the morning here, I'm having a nice glass of champagne and orange. So a little
nice
morning, yeah, mimosa. So how's everything going over there with COVID and isolation and craziness?
I thought I would do better at this. I thought because I'm such an introvert and that I like to be in all the time and I like to write, I thought it would be easier for me, but it's harder to do my day job from home. I go in, I rotate. I have a skeleton crew. There's 8 of us. We go in for 2 days and then we're off for 4 days. Well, we work from home. But it's so hard to get everything done from here because most of my job, I need to be in the office to do. So it's kind of stressful. So then when I am here, I'm stressed about, getting my job done. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a deadline coming up too. So writing, I have been a little, kind of discouraged a little bit, which is unlike me. So it's hit everything and very hard, I think, for all of us here. It's, isolation's so hard. And
it is, it's so hard. We're the same. Like, I love my wife, but we've been trapped in a house together for 6 weeks with a 5-year-old and a new puppy. Things are tense at times. So
that's tough.
It's really good that we have an office that's out the back garden, so I just leave. Hi everyone. But I'm a bit like you. I'm probably more of an introverted extrovert. I'm more of an extrovert when I know someone. So going into work is probably one of the. I only go in 1 day a week though, because I work from home 4 days a week. So I really thought I'd be good at it too. But when people are here that are not normally here, it really distracts me.
Right, it throws you off.
It does. It completely throws me off my game. Like being on a Zoom meeting a couple of weeks ago, and the person that I was on the Zoom meeting with, who is quite a high-profile person, said to me, "Rach, I think Rory's on the trampoline naked."
Oh, no.
Okay, because the office is out the back and the trampoline's just behind me. So I've actually moved my desk now so that people can't see my son who likes to jump in the trampoline naked. Not great. So yeah,
we all have our things.
Yeah, so things are and I feel like my reviewing's kind of I'm a bit lax now, because people don't seem to understand that when I turned off the computer before at 4 o'clock, I was done for the day. But there's this new mentality that when you're at home working, you can be around all the time. So I feel like a lot of the time the reviewing gets pushed aside, and like I said to Sandy in the last, it's my drug of choice. I love it. Reading, reviewing, it's I love it. So not having that is my out, is how I de-stress. So I'm finding that not having that is quite hard. But yeah, it is what it is.
It's tough. And I spend the drive home, decompressing, and I listen to my music, and I talk on the phone if I want to.
Yeah.
And it's just a way to unwind and change worlds, going from the corporate world and having to use one side of my brain and then listen to music and work out, and then come home and use the other side of my brain.
Yeah.
So I need that half-hour time, and I don't have that.
We need you to do that. We need you to do that so you can write the book.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's tough. It's what it is right now. Can't do anything about it. But I actually said to my mom on the phone, I'm napping a lot less. And she was like, what? And I was like, how when I finish my work, because I finish at 4 and Laura and Rory come home about 5:30, I can normally just chill. Even if I have a nap or I just sit and read my book, I have half an hour just me. I'm not even having that anymore. So I've now started just I'm going for a walk. I just get out, take the pup and go with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's that. So I'm really excited that you're here because you're like one of my favorite authors. Follow you.
Thank you.
Implicitly. I really want to start at the beginning on this conversation. I want to talk about Jolt, because Jolt, I actually didn't read Jolt first. The first book I read of yours was, thinking back now, I think it was Taste. Yeah, it was Taste. Way back when. But then I found Jolt, and I love that book so much. And I know it's not one of your favorites. I know that. But I just want to know where it all began. Where did the story come from? Why Lesfic? Tell us about it.
Okay, so Jolt, when I found Lesfic, I actually looked back in my digital records on my Kindle to see who I found. And I
was going to ask
Radcliffe.
Who was your first? Who was the first Lesfic?
I had there was Radcliffe. Let me see. I found it. There were like 4 of Radcliffe. Boom, 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 boom. 4 of hers. I must have. I think my parents got me a Kindle for Christmas, like at the end of in 2011,
okay.
Because that's when the books started showing up in my downloads. And let me see here. And there was, I think, R.J. Nolan was one of my first ones too. Let me see here. Let me see if I can find it here. I'm sorry. I had it up, and then since we had all different types of forms of trying to record this, because this is exciting. Because I always forget. I always forget what are my first books.
Yeah,
so Safe Harbor.
I remember mine. Like, it's like, I don't know what it is, and it's the one paperback I don't have, because I vowed that when I get it, I want to get it and take it. So I'm going to take it to GCLS with me next year and corner Georgia Beers and be like, you have to sign 96 hours for me. This is how I found Lesfic. You have to sign it.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
That's a good one too. Good one to start with. So I did Safe Harbor, When Dreams Tremble, Trauma Alert, Above All Honor, and then LA Metro, R.J. Nolan. Those are the ones I ordered around the Christmas time when I got it. So those are my first books that I read. So I don't know how I totally lucked out. I'm not sure how I found Radcliffe. I don't know. I honestly, I can't remember. I didn't even know like Lesfic existed until not too long ago. Yeah, you and I, same boat.
Yeah.
And
like, I felt like, I always think about it as like a feeling seen all of a sudden, like going, oh my God, there's something out there for me. Like, I've always been in this minority that like has to read a book, and the male in the book, I'm like in my head have that person as a woman, you know, like it was amazing. Such a fine. So then Jolt. Yay.
So Jolt, I read these books, and I read a bunch, like tons. There are tons in here, and some of them are really, really good, and some were just okay. And I thought, I could probably do a just okay book. I think I could probably write one. And so I thought about, what do I love in this world? And I love music. I love a lot of folk music.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, let's write about a singer who and it's kind of like I was a darling. I was into Dar Williams back in the day, a folk singer out of from the Northeast, and so I was a darling. And I just thought, how cool would it be to have this person who was sort of kind of famous, but yet still kind of had roots in her community, or really wanted to give back to a community. Yeah. And so that's how Allie was born. Yeah. And then I thought, well, I need a love interest. Who's going to be the love interest? And I thought, well, how about a writer? They're introverted, most of them. And so I thought that would be kind of a good combination, so that's why I kind of came up with the camp.
Yeah. I love it. Actually, I have to say that I loved that they were so different. Like Beth, she's so introverted and so lovely. But at the same time, there's a lot of, like, when she's with Allie, this, like, she's sexy, and she's like, she gets her confidence a little bit, and she asks for what she wants. And I always think it's such a juxtaposition of like who she was at camp and who she was by the end, but still held all her loveliness and her introvertedness and everything that really made me fond of her in the beginning. I just loved that. I loved that we've seen it through her eyes, And I'm not a big fan of first person.
I know. I hear that. I hear that a lot. A lot of people tell me that.
I'm not, but you just seem to nail it. I know you're doing third person now, but you just seem to nail first person.
Thank you.
Every time. Yeah, really good. And that book's amazing. And I'm so glad that I know that now, that's where it came from. I've always wanted to ask you. Many Les Vix readers have asked if there would be a sequel to Jolt, especially Ali's sister, Avery. Yeah, Avery. Would it happen? Would you think about it? If enough of us signed a protest about it, would you think about it? I'm not even kidding you on. This is like a conversation I have had a lot, like often, because I recommend that book to people all the time, and they'll go, "Oh my God, is there like a sequel?" And I'm like, "No, I think there should, but there's not."
You know, I have a lot of people tell me mixed things about the book. You know, it was kind of odd. It's like the whole story when I turned it in. I was just explaining this not too long ago about how when I turned it in, it was first person and third person because I didn't know POVs. I didn't know anything. I didn't know what I was doing. But I was just so happy that they saw that I could write, that there was something in me.
Yeah.
And Radcliffe, you know, there's a panel of people who read every submission. And so, you know, I went through like 8 people. And so they figured, hey, maybe there's something there with her. Maybe she can write. So I got the contract for it, and then I had to rewrite the whole thing because like I said, I mixed it up. I was first person present, first person past. Most of it was in third person. And so my editor always jokes with me about how I was a hot mess and I was all over the place and I didn't know anything. And I don't. I'm not a great. I need editors. Nobody will ever say, hey, can you edit this for me? Because they know how bad I am. So then I had the opportunity. My editor asked me to just rewrite it and maybe go with first person. And so I did first person, and I kind of never looked back. Yeah. And it was just so odd. People are like, you know, I really don't like first person, and I like this story, or I don't like first person. I couldn't get through it, or the poets were really weird. So I mean, there's a lot going on there that people didn't like. And I think, you know, I mean, I grew up with imaginary friends, and I kind of still sort of have them sometimes, you know, and not, you know, just not a crazy side of me, but, you know, I talk to myself a lot, and I'm sure, you know, somewhere back there are my friends from, you know, when I was little.
Yeah, I have to see the poets in it. I think I did a little bit of levitate sometimes as well to the book, as well as really reining her back in. Yeah, it's an awesome book, and I'll pay you for a sequel. I'll be like, commission Kris Bryant for a sequel to Jolt. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I honestly, I really don't know what I'm gonna write or what I'm gonna write next. It's really hard. So it's hard to know, especially now, since, you know, I have a deadline. I've already asked for one extension because, like I said, I'm kind of struggling through this whole thing, you know, staying in and the COVID quarantine life. It's not something, you know, I'm adjusting to well. So I don't have the passion for it right now. So I'm struggling getting to the end of this book. So I do know what I'm writing next, but after that, I don't know. Yeah, you know, it's one of those where I don't know. So maybe it'll be a Jolt sequel, or maybe it'll be something else, another book, or a brand new thing. I don't know.
Oh, that's awesome. That's kind of cool, though. I like that. It's very it shows that your kind of artistic side, where you almost like a blank canvas. When you finish the last book, you're ready for the next one, and it's a blank canvas. Where do I start? I like. I do want to ask you, apart from Jolt, because obviously first book is going to be hard to write. What was the hardest book that you wrote? I've read them all, so I'm really interested to know.
The hardest book I wrote or I've written, I think, like, Listen was really personal for me, about anxiety, you know, the struggle and kind of opening myself up for that book. You know, that took a lot, because anxiety is different for everybody, and people react to it differently. And I thought, well, you know, people might not see that, or might not think that music is such a soother for people with anxiety. Yeah. And so I was kind of nervous about how it was going to be taken by everybody. And
it was amazing, though. Like, I mean, I know it's hard to write, but wow.
Thank you. It's probably the book I'm most proud of out of all my books, because it is probably the deepest thing I've written. But the hardest, just from a standpoint of plot, the hardest was probably taste, because I can't cook. I'm not a chef at all, but I love like Top Chef, and I love good cooking shows. Not like, really competitive shows, but just like Top Chef is somewhat competitive, and Padma is like really hot, and it's a good show to watch. And
we're a Jamie Oliver household. We're always watching, like, we do not bypass Jamie Oliver. If he is on the TV, my wife is sitting there taking notes. Like, and if Nigella Lawson's on, I kind of come in because I like her voice a little bit. But I keep hoping she's going to narrate a lesfic at some point. But yeah, we love cooking shows too. So I get that, and I can't cook. So I really
so I had to do a lot of research on really how things are made, like starting from scratch. And so I did go to a culinary school for a week and spend some time there learning and just kind of watching how it really is, instead of just trying to guess or learning from the show. I actually went to the culinary center here in town, and that was a lot of fun. And so they let me walk around and ask questions, and I watched them prepare things. They have a classroom up front. They'd go through like techniques, and then they go practice them. So it was kind of cool.
Oh, that is cool.
But then writing recipes, you're always going to get critiqued about a recipe. Like, a reader will say, oh, there's too much this, or this doesn't really work this way. And so, there's always you can't please everybody all the time. No. So that was probably hard for technique.
Because I mean, I worked for startups the last couple of years. And we read a couple of books on startups, and there's stuff in there that I go, well, that wouldn't really happen in a startup, or like that says, but I would never comment on it, because it's a fiction. It's fiction. It's fiction.
Yeah, and you have to, the disbelief. The reader has to understand that it is fiction. It's not real life. Things like this, there's going to be something in a book that isn't right, that isn't true. Like, a lot of my towns are either like super big towns, like Chicago, I've gone there several times, and Denver. And then I have towns that don't even exist, and places that don't exist, because people will actually like double check things and say, hey, that's not right. So I've come to make up things now, more so than I did before.
Yeah. So obviously being with Bold Strokes Books is awesome, but I wonder, when you back when you decided to go with a publisher instead of doing an indie, why did you do that? Like, a lot of readers are always interested to know, because maybe they're thinking about doing it, and I always like to ask authors, why go with a publishing house?
For me, I didn't. I always thought you had to. I didn't realize that there were indie. Like, I was so green coming into this. I knew nothing at all. I seriously didn't. And I didn't realize that you could self-publish. Not that I would have, because I really enjoy what I have with Bold Strokes Books. I mean, it's a huge family. They do a lot for the writers, and there's a lot of marketing and events and things that they support. And if we do other private events, they're always there to support us too. And I found my family with Bold Strokes Books. I have a whole bunch of brothers and sisters now, and people that are like me. It's hard. I'm so lucky that I found KB Draper, because she's here in town, and we get together and we do our writing dates, and it's so nice to have support here in town. Yeah. It's hard. Like, I have my friends that, they're in heterosexual marriages, and they have kids, and they're like, oh, you're right, good, that's nice. But there's they just don't understand like how important this is to me and to other people in this world. It's just kind of like, oh, you wrote a book. I always get this. You write books? I can write a book. I get that a lot. Like, people know, it's just like, okay. I have a girl at work. She's like, I think I can write a book. I'm like, okay. I go, if you need help, I'm here. So it's kind of interesting. But so
I think that what you guys do is phenomenal. Okay, writing a book, like, I gave it a go. Did a couple of short stories. Like, so hard. Like, I take my hat off to authors 100%. But a bit like you, I've said to people before, I review books. That's like my side thing. I review, and they're like, oh yeah, cool. Like, set me up, I'll subscribe. And I'm like, oh, it's lesbian fiction novels, and they go, oh,
yeah,
okay.
right, yeah.
And I've actually seen my friends. The friends that I have now are the friends that are the most supportive about the fact that I do this. They all want t-shirts. They all want to read the reviews. They'll all watch this video, you know? Like, I think my mum will probably watch this video, and she follows me around. Well, you know, I've got this supportive base, but I have the people in my life who I've gone, yeah, like, just because it's lesbian fiction doesn't mean that it's any less important. In actual fact, it's more important because mainstream doesn't really need reviews. They don't need people to be buying their books like as much as lesbian fiction does. So, yeah, people that don't get it just don't get it.
Right. And so it's kind of like, you know, I still love my friends and everything. But then to find people who have the same passions about this, you know, the writers and the readers, it's like such a changed my life completely. 100% changed my life.
So good. And I reckon during COVID-19, the community, the lesbian community has really just upped their game. Everyone's supportive. Like, I've seen a couple of people post like having a really tough day, and like there's like 300 comments like thinking of you, or what can we do to help, or let's like changing the subject and talking about something else. And I love that about this community. This community has taken me in and really embraced me in a lot of ways. And through a time that I was having a really tough time, I was at home on my own with my son who was very sick. I couldn't leave the house. I was in a shitty situation. Not that I would change it for the world, but I found Lesfic, and it really, really helped me through that tough time. I'll never forget that. And I think during COVID, it's helping people.
I hope so. Yeah.
Keep writing.
Thank you.
I want to talk about.
Keep reviewing.
I'll try. I want to talk about, and it's like asking your favorite kid, so I get it. But what's your favorite book that you've written? Like the one that you go, that's the one. That's if I got an award for any of the books I've written, that's the one I want the award for, because I feel like I just did my best with that.
You know, it's different. Like it's like, I always laugh at people who say, "Oh, I can't pick a favorite child," blah blah blah. You know, I always like
favorite child really. Yeah, I've got one.
So they're all, you know, I have top three for different reasons, you know. Like I love Listen. We talked about that. I love Listen. I love just the response and just how people have received it and what they've said about it. And Taste. I love Taste just because it was difficult, but it was also fun.
Yeah.
Because I kind of put myself in the character spot of Kai, you know, like falling in love with your instructor and how taboo that is. And so that was kind of fun. And I hate to admit it, but I'm going to say it, Lucky.
Yeah.
So my first attempt at third person, I actually like the story a lot.
Really?
I really do.
Awesome. Awesome. We're going to talk about Lucky soon, because I'm dying to hear a bit more about it. But do you create any Easter eggs or like secret things that connect the book? Like Melissa Braden, for example, will have like a cameo from maybe a character that comes in, or maybe she'll have a cameo from like a secondary character in one of her later books. I just wondered if there's anything we need to be looking out for. Like, I remember in Touch, there was a secret pair of underwear that never returned anywhere, and I'm just wondering if that's something that we need to know about. So we're looking because I actually messaged you and went, where did that go?
I know. I do that on purpose. I always leave something undone so that just to see how, just to kind of be. And she was so upset with me. She's like, in Forget Me Not, she's like, what happened to the scooter? Oh yeah, there are two scooters at the end, and she's like, what happened to the scooter? I'm so worried about the scooter that's left up there on the hill. And so I just laugh, because I kind of leave always one thing unanswered, just because I can, exactly. So I'm kind of playful that way, and then I'm starting to secretly like have characters jump back into stories. Yeah. So I found that that's happened in books coming up, you'll see characters from previous books. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I do enjoy your little things like that, because they're the little things that get to me. I'm like, oh, what happened to that? Where did what? And it stays with me, but it also makes the book stay with me. So yeah, it intrigues me. Okay, future books. Let's talk about them. We've got Lucky coming up, and I'm really excited for Lucky. I like the underdog story. Can you tell us a little bit about Lucky? I think everybody was dying to know.
So Lucky is about a woman who wins the lottery, and she kind of accepts her life the way it is. She grew up poor. She's living paycheck to paycheck. Seriously, living paycheck to paycheck. She accounts for every penny, and on a whim, she buys a lottery ticket, and she just happens to win. And she doesn't know she's won for a couple days, and until, well, I don't want to ruin the story, but anyway, so she wins, and so she takes her money, and she opens up a kind of a hotel for pets. It's like the Posh Pet Inn, and so the architect that she hires, the firm, the architect has to design this huge hotel, and this person hates animals. Like, she can't understand why somebody would want to spend all this money on a hotel for pets. So I say hotel. It's not really a hotel, but, like a staycation. She actually does it.
I think that sounds actually like pet hotel. I've been looking at them for peanuts, so I like the idea of a pet hotel. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's very upscale, because she lives in Vail, Colorado, and so the whole thing is a lot of rich people, wealthy people, celebrities. They all go to Vail, to ski on vacation, and so she wants a place where they can drop off their pets during the day while they're skiing and partying, and then they can go see their pet or pick them up and go back to the hotel or whatever at the end of the night or the end of the day. So she's kind of made it kind of a celebrity type thing, but also for locals to drop off their pets if they're going on vacation. Oh, yeah. So it's kind of a little twist on it. And so she has to try she's working with this architect who has to nail this project, because she's up for partnership, and it's between her and somebody else. And so she knows that she has to do this right. So she's gritting her teeth the whole time. And so it's kind of, they're not like, they don't start off great. And so they just kind of develop a relationship as it goes. They're friends first. And Serena Evans, who's the main character who wins the lottery, she's very skeptical of people, because she's been hurt so many times by her mother. She doesn't even know her dad. And then she's had maybe, a couple relationships, and they've all not turned out well. So she has a real hard time trusting people. And the architect is Gabrielle, and she's fun. I really like her. She's really, really, she's very kind of outgoing, but she's also like really tough at work. I mean, she has to be tough. She's the only female architect in an all-male workplace. So she's hardened herself. She doesn't have time for relationships. She does a lot of one-night stands. So she's different than any other character I've written. So she was exciting to write from that aspect, because most of my characters are sweet and perfect, and they do nothing wrong. And so I kind of I'm starting to add more flaws to my characers as they go.
Did you do anything wrong? Did you read Temptation? Oh my God. I really, yes, I get it. Blue.
So yeah,
I love that book. I don't think I have stopped talking about Temptation since I read it. Like, anybody's going, have you got a recommendation? I'm like, have you read Temptation yet? It's like, everyone needs to read this book. It literally ticks every single one of my tropes that I love. It's never happened before. I remember closing the book and going, holy shit. What? What a book. What a book.
So I have to say, there's a lot of that book was kind of written because of you and love of tropes, because I normally I really don't have a lot of tropes. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to write a book that has a lot of tropes, and I'm going to see how many I can cram into one book. And so for some reason, like the nanny, I was just like, I'm going to do something about a nanny. That just sounds like again, taboo. And so I just thought, I'm going to do this. And so let's see how many of these boxes I can pick.
Single mom, ice queen, age gap romance, like what else? Like there's others, like things. Like honestly, and genuinely, that book just I keep thinking, like I keep looking at my list of books to read, and I'm like, where is there a gap that I can just? And my wife doesn't read lesfic, and she's like liked it. So you know, like it's an all rounder book. So it is. I think as parents, it's nice to be able to read, and I'm sure there's a lot of authors out there who are mums, like Melissa, Fiona, like that are mums, and I think that see when you get it right, and you got it right with a kid, like that is. The other book I read, I'll never forget, was Moonbeams and Sky, which was by Kate Sweeney, and she wrote kids in that as well, and I always remember going, well done, big tip. Some people don't get it right, but you like age appropriate stuff was fantastic with Max.
Perfect. Yeah, I've had experience with young kids. That sounds bad. I've known people. I'm really good with kids. I mean, kids. I'm always the person that people give their kids to. Here, take this. Take my kid. You know, like entertain him. So I've been around kids enough to know. You know, and I used to coach at the YMCA. So I've always been around kids. And the trick is like never really treat them like kids. Like when you're not their parent. Is don't treat them like they're like 4 or 5 or 6, you know, and you know, give them more encouragement. And so I've always kind of been around that age. So all the kids I write are going to be in the, you know, the 4 to 7 range, just because that's the sweetest age. You know, that's kind of when their personalities are really coming out, and at least in my experiences. So, and they're fun to write because they're really honest, and they're innocent, and you know, they're going to tell you how it is. And they're not going to be, you know, like later when they're teenagers and they're jerks, they can be. They're not going to, you know, I will never write a teenager because no, I'm out on that.
If I had to choose a nice sweet spot, I'd choose from 0 to 5 and then redo it again. 0 to 5 and then redo it. I don't love him just now. Like, he's so sweet, but there's going to be a point that's not going to be, well, he'll still always be sweet, but I think there might be a point where we have some teenage angst, and I'm not the kind of person that can deal with that. I want to segue a little bit, and I think we'll come back because I want to talk to you just before you leave about the new Scent book. The new sensory book Scent that you've got in the works as well. That's right, isn't it? It's called Scent. I got that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
I want to come back to that at some point, but I want to ask about Britt Ryder. Temptation for me was a sexy book, right? So for me, the next topic we need to talk about is your alter ego, Britt Ryder, who wrote Shameless. And if I'm right, she wrote another book, another short story that was in an anthology, which was hot. Emery over both books was hot.
Right. Yes.
But a little birdie told me that there might be something coming in the future from...
Yes, Britt Ryder. So Lucky comes out in June, and then I have a something coming out in November. It's called Home. It started off as a novella, and I think it's going to end up being a novel because it was just such a story that I had to get out. And so I told Sandy, it's going to be longer than what I told her. I told her like 25,000 words. You know, it was just going to be another holiday novella like Tinsel. But it ended up turning into a bigger story. And I've realized that writing in third person, my books are longer. Okay. So I found that out by like a lot. I think Lucky came in at maybe 83,000 words. That's really big. Yeah. So Home is also written in third person. So that's why it ended up being twice as long as I anticipated. So that's coming out, but then Scent comes out in January, and that's the one that I'm writing now that I'm struggling to get through. So everybody just, you know, just keep in mind my mental state.
You will.
While
we're not pushing. We're just going to reread the back catalogue until the next one's come out. So you're good. You've got 10 books for it. You've already got 10 books for us to read. So with Brit, she's
I'm sorry. Yes,
yeah. So Brit
forgot to.
So in Shameless, the woman that Emery is with. I don't want to ruin it, because if you're not read Shameless, go buy it now, and take it, and make sure you're not at work when you read it. There's the other character, I'll say, is going to be the focus, from my understanding. Is that right?
Right. Yeah. Right. So it's going to be the other character pre, during, and post Shameless, from the other character's point of view. So you get her backstory, and you get her side of the exchange of what happens in the museum, and then what happens at the end, and the relationship that may or may not turns into something, and so that's kind of that's the next step for Brit Ryder, and that's actually going to happen. Yeah, it's going to be a novel.
A rotten novel.
I know. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see.
Someone's trying to get in here. See what's
I wonder who's here.
Yeah, let's see. It's Fiona!
Fiona, really, where are you?
Hi! How are you? Can you hear us?
I need to see her.
Fiona is connecting to audio. Hey there, how are you?
Hey! How are you?
Welcome!
Hi!
Hi!
Awesome! You're here! This is so cool!
I'm fresh out of the shower too, so I'm all nice and clean for you.
Oh, special, shiny. So Fiona is actually going to be our next guest on Between the Covers. So this is like awesome. Yeah, amazing.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's going to be. You just wait. The questions are coming. I've already got a few up here. I've been dying to ask. I've just been grilling your very good friend here for the last, I don't know how long.
Isn't she the best? She's the best.
She is the best. I'm going to GCLS next year, and I'm hoping that you two are going to be there. I'm hoping.
I would love to go.
Oh yeah, I'm hoping so too.
Yeah, I think it's going to be on. Yeah, I actually said to my wife the other day, I was like, you could come if you want, like,
but I'm not going to be around.
She's like, I was like, but like literally, you would be just you and the kid the whole time, and we'd need to find something for like someone to look after the pet, and like it'll be really warm there, and you're not like maybe. And she was like, nah, we'll just have a holiday elsewhere, and I like walked away like, yes, like.
I mean, it is Orlando. You could go to Disney.
I know, but if Laura and Rory come, if Rory's there, I'll want to see him.
Right.
I'll be so conflicted. I'll be like, oh, I feel like a bad mom because he's like there, but really I just want to be running around with you lot.
You gotta split your
guys get up to. I've seen it. I know.
What?
Yeah, I've seen the photos. I want to be in on that. Yeah. Awesome. So we're actually just wrapping up, Fiona.
Yeah.
I will say this. So lately, we have, Fiona and I have had our writing dates. Like we'll do word sprints. It's like, are you in? And so we'll write like as many words as we can in like an hour or however much time we have. So that's helped me during the quarantine, trying to get some words down on page. So she's a real help for me.
Maybe you should consider writing something together.
Oh. Well,
that'd be pretty sexy.
Yeah, because Kris has done it before with Megan and Maggie. So maybe it's time to change it up.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of it being like crime, you could do something erotica or something. Two of you together could really create something sexy.
Oh my! Oh my!
Yeah,
I'm open to everything.
I just need you to get on.
I'm definitely open to everything. I will say that I kicked Chris's butt in the word sprint. So I'm just
like, yeah. Wow. Well, I was close. I was like within 6 words that night. Six words. She beat me by 6 words.
Away for 15 minutes though.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like, Fiona writes like, hey, I wrote 500 words. Where are you at? She's like, I wrote 8,000 words. I'm like, how did you write 8,000 words? She's like, yeah, I had like an hour and a half this morning before the kids got up. I'm like, what?
Well, that's the thing, right? Because I have 2 little kids, and like I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, so I have to squeeze my words in, which is why Kris is the best. Because if I get on a sprint with Kris, I can absolutely cram as many words as my brain can think in that time frame. I know someone's next to me, like pushing me along. So that's been really helpful because, like she said, quarantining is hard, and working from home is hard, and being with little kids is hard.
Yep.
So having someone to motivate you to hit your deadlines, it's priceless.
Yeah, because you do a lot of your writing when the kids are sleeping, like when they do their naps and stuff, yeah? You just
wait. Girl, I'm up early. I'm doing nap time writing, and I am up late.
Wait, those naps finish, and life ends. Like, all of a sudden, it's like, Mummy, can you do this? Mummy, can you do it? And I'm like, I'm in the middle of writing a review. I'll be there in a minute. And he's like, well, I need this now. Or, Mummy, I need the toilet. Or, Mummy, I need... And I'm like, it's just like, all the time. The only good thing is being in isolation is that Laura has to be here too. So all of a sudden there's 2 of us having to do all this stuff. Whereas that is kind of cool. And very eye-opening for her, I think. Awesome.
I greatly appreciate Kris and her availability because she is real flexible. When I have like 5 minutes, she makes herself available. So.
Yeah. You're good people, Kris. Good people.
The best.
Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for showing
up. Thanks for letting me jump in. I feel so honored.
Excited. And then you and I will organize when we're going to do ours in 2 weeks' time, and we'll be posting that too. So maybe we'll get someone to jump in at the end of that one. Make this a thing. Kris with the ideas.
Yeah, yay!
It's awesome. Okay, well, thanks, ladies.
Thank you very much.
Between the Covers with Kris Bryant. And we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.